Want me to, because that would keep you here till midnight. Let's start with prayer. I know what they say. Holy Spirit, come enlighten our minds, our hearts. Keep us open to whatever it is that you'd like to show us about ourselves and about yourself tonight. We ask this all in your name through the intercession of your blessed Mother as we pray. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. All right. I am happy to be here tonight. Is this really loud? Feels really loud. No? Okay. All right. I'll just eat it. I just kind of want to start off with a question. You'll learn a little bit more about me as I get going. But do you ever feel like there's just not enough time? Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. All right. I feel like that basically every minute of every day. And I've actually always been fascinated with Greek culture, ancient Greek culture. So I was really happy to find out a little bit more about time through my fascination with that. I took a Greek mythology class when I was back in high school. It was probably the only class I actually liked in high school. In college, I went to school in Minnesota. Anybody from Minnesota? Yeah, University of St. Thomas, I don't know where that is. St. Paul. And I studied some epic poetry and Greek philosophy, and that was awesome. Then I got involved in youth ministry, and I taught at a Catholic high school down in the valley for a while. And I was introduced to the Kairos retreat program, and I think you guys have something kind of like it up here too. That's about, hey, hi, Emily. Okay, so I just absolutely love that. It was through that program, coordinating those retreats, that I learned a lot about the Greek concepts of time, kairos and chronos, you know? And I never thought about any other word for time but time. And so I didn't know there was much of a difference. I didn't know there was a different concept for it than what I had always known it to be, you know? So we're all familiar with chronos, chronological time, right? The linear time from here to there. It's always passing, always going away. I was introduced to a really interesting image for this kind of time. It was like an old man with a bald head and a really long beard, right? So when he's coming towards you, you can grab onto him, right? But as he passes you, there's nothing, you got nothing, he's gone forever. You know, he has a bald head, there's nothing to grab onto once he's passed you by. You know, and that's a perfect image for me of this chronological time that we're living in, because we find ourselves always kind of grasping at what we wanted to hang on to and never leave us. And, you know, we want to live in a time that was better, or we want to live in this time that we're just really enjoying right now, but it's constantly passing. You know, we can't live in linear time forever. It's always moving, always changing. But essentially, we're not really, as Christians, called to live in that kind of time all the time. Right? We're called to a higher concept of time. We're called to live in what's called kairotic time. We're supposed to live in kairos, not just chronos. What is that? God, first of all, is not bound by chronos. He lives outside of time. He's not bound by it like we are, passing, growing, getting older at every second, which is fun. I don't mind. But he's, you know, this kind of time was described to me as a qualitative time, not a quantitative time. And that is why I have so much trouble living in it. It's measured, if it's measured at all, not by seconds, hours, days, weeks. If it's measured at all, it's measured in moments. You know, those moments that are meaningful, significant moments. You know, and I found that the reason that I struggle to live in that kind of time, just be in the moment, and not be concerned about what's past and what's coming, and what I'm looking forward to, and what I'm wishing for and dreaming for, but just being here now. The reason I have so much trouble with that is because I tend to judge my day qualitatively every day. I look at how many things I've crossed off my to-do list, right? And that's how I decide, was it a good day or not? Well, let's see, how much did I get done? If I did not get a lot done, and had a lot of people interrupt my plans for the day, I am not a happy camper, right? Anybody can relate to that? Okay, good, not the only one again. So, I'm a planner. I'm notorious for planning things and having a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D just in case. You know, and so I know I can kind of anticipate what's going to happen and how I can shift and change just in case things don't go my way. Hypothetical question. How many times a year do you think things go my way? The way that I planned them exactly? Probably never, right? Yeah, you're right. Never. Things never go exactly as I planned. So you might be asking yourself, well, Lita, why do you plan at all? Why are you so concerned with like getting things done and things going your way and finding the perfect plan for your life when it's not going to turn out the way you planned it anyway? You know, what's the point? Well, I do think there's a purpose in planning. I haven't stopped planning, in other words. But I found that if I'm so concerned with making sure that things go my way, there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of frustration and a lot of impatience that comes with that. And I don't want to live in a place where I'm always anxious about the future and mourning over the past. I just want to be happy and able to rest in what's now, what's happening right before me. Because otherwise, I'm not going to be able to enjoy it, and then it's going to be gone, and I can't get it back, you know? So my vocation story basically plays into all of this, because I learned a lot about myself through these years that I was kind of figuring out, well, what is my life supposed to be like, and how am I supposed to be living it? And so basically, I realized that I am one of many women that tends to compare herself to other women. Again, probably not alone on that, right? Nod your heads. No, it's okay, don't be ashamed. Everybody does it. So we tend to compare ourselves to each other, you know, to kind of validate where we think we are, how we think we look, how we think we're doing, where we, you know, what milestones we've covered, what we should have accomplished by now, you know? And that applies to timelines too. You know, we think that by this age, I should have this done. I should only take 4 years to graduate college. Somebody came up with that somewhere. I did not. I took 6. And I took time off to do missionary work, and I came back and I took 3 different schools and changed my major 4 times, and I'm totally happy with how that, you know, played out, because that's how I figured out what I was supposed to do, you know, and I wouldn't change a thing. It cost a little bit more money, and it took a little bit more time, but you know, I learned a little bit more about living in the moment. But I think when it comes to your vocation, when it comes to like looking forward to being married, when it comes to looking forward to maybe like entering religious life, if that's something you've considered, well, you kind of just want to get there. And you're not really interested in waiting 10 years for that to come to fruition, you know? I won't totally tell you how old I am yet. You can guess. But, you know, I think we also, as women, have a lot of tendency to compare our timelines to one another's. I grew up in Mesa, down in the Valley, and most of my friends growing up were LDS. And so after we graduated high school, there were a lot of my friends that were getting married, like, within a year after having graduated high school and already starting families. They already have, like, most of my friends from high school have large families, and they have kids that are, like, in high school or almost in high school already. It's craziness. Like, they're going to the same school that we went to together now. You know, it's insane. So, and here I am. Hi, guys. I'm not there yet, you know? And it's really tempting to look at what they're doing with their lives and be like, oh my gosh, I am so behind. You know, I'm going to catch up to these people, because that's where every woman should be by this point in time in her life, which is false. I should be living by no one's timeline except my own. You know, so my task is to figure out what timeline am I on? And the only way you can figure that out is, well, where am I right now? Because that's where I'm supposed to be right now. You know? And to be content with that for however long the now lasts. You know, but there's a long road to get there. I am 37 years old. I know I look 25. But as Father Dan said, I just got married a little over a month ago. You know, so this is just starting. Like, in a way, my life is just starting. A new phase in my life is just starting. And for a long time, though, it was like my life has yet to begin because I'm not married. You know, it was really a lot of years of preparation that started. You know, being my singlehood, my single life, and embracing where God wanted me to be at the time started after a really terrible relationship and a really bad breakup. I had to find myself again. I had to figure out what was important to me and let go of everything that I had been manipulated to think was important. You know, it was a long time that I needed to heal from that relationship. And I realized through all of that, wow, all of this time that I've been given, even though it was way longer than I really wanted, it was exactly the amount of time that I needed to be prepared for what was to come. And it was exactly the amount of time that I needed to become the woman that I was supposed to be in order to become the wife that I'm supposed to be, and God willing, the mother that I'm supposed to be. And so, it turns out I thought I had enough time. I thought I needed all the time that I thought I was ready to move on. I'm like, Lord, bring me a man. Here I am. I'm ready. I've done all this work on myself. I've really been working on figuring out, what your will is for me. And so, okay, let's bring it on. Next phase. Let's go. All right, chop, chop. Clock's ticking. And it wasn't really until 2 years ago that I started feeling anxious like that. I was totally happy being single. I knew I needed this time. I had embraced that. And then the clock hit me over the head like a 2x4 in the summer of 2017. Right? I was out in Steubenville, Ohio. Anybody ever heard of that place? Don't go there. It smells like toxic. I'm surprised people could live there for more than a year and not die. I'm serious. I had my windows open because they don't believe in air conditioning there. And you wake up in the morning, there's this pungent smell. What is that? Oh, now I understand where the Steelers got their name from. This is disgusting. So I'll never go back. I'm pretty sure I caught something while I was there, and I'm trying to get rid of it now. But during my time there, I had a lot of time to myself because I was taking a summer class that was required for my master's degree studies that I'm still undergoing, and God will only be done in November. But I had to do a summer residency there. So I was there for 3 weeks, didn't know anybody, didn't have a car, so I had a lot of time to pray, which was great. But I just really loved the little chapel they had there on campus, and I spent a lot of time there. And it was in that chapel, during that summer session, that I had it out with God. And I poured my heart out. I told him all the things I was frustrated about. I told him all the things I was mad at him for. I told him all the things I was waiting for that I have not received yet. And I said, okay, now that I've gotten all that out of the way, I surrender. And I just made this prayer of total and utter and complete surrender in that morning. And I just said, okay, these are all the things that I've planned for myself. Here's the timeline that I think you should be abiding by. And I lay it all down, and if you have something different in mind, I'm open. I realized I had a tight grip on my plans for my future, and I let go that day. I think it was probably a miracle, but I was able to do that. But all of these things that have happened in my life have kind of prepared me for that moment, and then that moment prepared me for everything that's happened since then, So, I wanted to talk about a couple things that had happened over the several years that I was spending as a single woman that prepared me to just be in a position to receive the gifts that God wanted me to wanted to give me on His time, not on mine, without my idea of how things are supposed to go. One of those things was a discovery that it is absolutely essential for me to have commitment and consistency in my prayer life, meaning praying every day is essential. And I wasn't really doing that. And I didn't know that until I had, during this time of singlehood, I was exploring religious life and decided I should have a spiritual director, which means with somebody that knows more than me and they can tell me how to do things. And what I'm supposed to be paying attention to and how to discern and all that. So I met with a priest who happens to be up north here in Williams right now. And he kicked my butt in 10 minutes, basically. Gave me a big dose of reality. He said, tell me about your prayer life, the first day that we met. And I was like, oh, well, I stop by the Adoration Chapel sometimes on the way home from work. I pray morning prayer, evening prayer, night prayer when I can, I go to Sunday Mass, obviously. I go to daily Mass a couple times during the week. I just started talking about, I pray the rosary occasionally, and all this. I started feeling like really, gosh, I'm awesome. Look at all these Catholic things I do all the time. I'm pretty great, And I started feeling like I was bragging, and then he said, when I was done, so you're telling me you have no prayer life? I was like, what? Wait a second. I just spent like 10 minutes bragging about myself, and were you listening? And he said, Lita, you didn't name a single thing that you do every day, no matter what, whether it's convenient or not, whether you feel like it or not. There's no commitment in your prayer life. And he asked me to put it in a different context. He said, imagine that you're married. Would you only love your husband when you feel like it? Would you only talk to him when it's convenient? I'm like, good point. No, we wouldn't treat any relationship or any friendship that way. So why am I treating my relationship with God that way? That makes very little sense. You know, I should be willing to be with him, to listen to him, to speak with him every day, regardless of how I feel and regardless of whether it's convenient or not. And so I saw the wisdom in that, and he gave me homework that day. He said, all right, here's what I want you to do. Every day, and I want you to pick one time a day, the best time of day for you to pray is the best time of your day, period. That belongs to God. You know, and I was like, I'm a morning person. That's when I'm most alert, most awake. All right, so that belongs to God. That time belongs to God. I'll get that later. And, you know, nighttime would be garbage time for me. I'm not going to give God my leftovers. I'm not going to give him the time where I'm falling asleep. I got to give him the morning right away, because that's the time I need him the most. And so I said, okay, I'll do it then. You know, and all he asked me to do was pray one Our Father, one Hail Mary, one Glory Be, and then some intentions, whatever I have some intentions for that day. I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. Anything else? What else? Is that it? Really? That's it? Come on, I'm not 5. Like, I didn't need more than that. Let's go. You know, no. He's like, that's it. I just want you to start there. Now, don't get excited. This is not like super great. You know, like if you do more than that, awesome, but at least do this every day. You know, at least do that. When you get busy, at least do that. And I was like, okay, fine, you know, and it was humbling when I realized that even just that was hard enough. And it took a while to even get to the point where I was doing that without fail. And so I realized, wow, that is a good place to start. Some wisdom in that, you know. He said, look, a lack of commitment in prayer is kind of indicative of a lack of love, because love requires commitment. So I was struck one day during the Mass, and you know, there's 4 different Eucharistic prayers that the priest can choose from as he's, you know, as the host is being consecrated, and these last prayers that are being prayed before we receive communion. And in Eucharistic prayer number 1, I was struck one day by the words, "Order our days in your peace." You know, I heard those words really for the first time. They struck me to the heart. Order our days in your peace. I was like, what does that mean? What does it mean to order my days? And it caused me to reflect on what kind of consistency, what kind of commitment should exist in my prayer life, beyond what he'd asked me to do just to start off with, you know? Because I knew that wasn't the extent of it. That's just a beginning, just to get me in the habit of doing something. But the something isn't enough. You know, I gotta make it my own. And so how should my day be ordered? Is God an afterthought most days? Or do I go all day without thinking of him once, and then at night something happens, I'm like, oh my God, you know? Do I pray only when I need something? You know, like calling up a friend only when you need something, not just to spend time with them. Like, that's crappy. Like, I can't do that to God. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be a good friend if I only do that to other people. You know, so it was beautiful to have, right after this revelation, to have a friend of mine recommend a book to me that just really kind of solidified exactly where I should be going with this. And how many of you know Father Will Schmidt at San Francisco Diocese? So he's the pastor over there and the only other parish in Flagstaff as far as I know. And I've known him for like 10 years. He's a dear friend. And over the years that I've known him, I realized that whenever he recommends a book for me to read, you just get it right away. Don't ask any questions. It's just always going to be helpful. It's always going to bear fruit in my life. That's consistently, that's been the case over the years that I've known him. And so one day he texts and says, Lita, this book is awesome. You need to get it right now. And so I said, yes, sir. And I ordered on an Amazon right away. And it was really providential because I was heading out for a retreat that upcoming weekend. I was heading out to Alhambra, California, and some of you might be familiar with the Carmelites that live out there. I love them, and it's a stop that I make every time. I discern with them for a little while, but they're just amazing, joyful women, and so I stop there for retreats every once in a while, and I'm going again this summer. But I was just going to do a weekend silent retreat. Whenever I do that, I bring something to read, because that's how, I've learned that in my spirituality, I got to be learning something. And I got to be given God an opportunity to speak to me with words, scripture, and spiritual reading. So I was like, this is perfect. This is the book I'm supposed to read. This is the book I'm supposed to bring. But then I looked at the Amazon order, and I was like, oh man, it's not going to get here in time. I guess this isn't the book I'm supposed to read. All right, Lord, I'll just figure out what it is and be open to something else that you present to me before I leave. And to a retreat, and we're kind of settling in. We got our bags out, and then I was walking around the library, which I love. Their library, it's awesome. They have this little bookshop on the side, and in that little bookshop, guess what book was on the shelf? The same book that Father Willard told me to get, and it was for $3, which was cheaper than Amazon. So I was going to send that one back, but I ended up giving it to a friend instead. So I learned through the reading of this book a little bit more about how to order my days in the peace of Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace. You know, I learned about the motto, the Benedictine motto, Ora et Labora, because the book called The Music of Silence is the title of the book. The Music of Silence by Brother David Steinwell-Rast, and he was a Benedictine brother himself. And so Ora et Labora, prayer and work, that's how they order their day, between things that they have to do, things that are necessary for their survival, and things that are necessary for the survival of their soul, right? By the way, I can show you a snapshot of that book afterwards if you're interested. But prayer, interestingly enough, is not just like a part of the pie, you know, like here's different pieces of the pie, here's how I order my life, a bunch of things that are important, I put them all in the pie. Prayer is not just a piece of the pie, it is the pie. My relationship with God is the pie. I fit everything else into my prayer life. You know, prayer is prioritized over their work so that their work can also become a part of their prayer. And everything that they do throughout the day can be a part of their prayer, and it can all be offered up for the glory of God. And they pause throughout different moments of their day to pray what's known as the Liturgy of the Hours. And you might be familiar with that. But several times a day, a bell tolls. It calls them to prayer. They drop what they're doing, and they go straight to chapel to pray together. Right? There's no delay. Oh, let me finish, raking in the garden first. I'm almost done, and then I'll go. No, it's not, let me finish sending a couple more emails, and then I'll go after I'm done with this task. No. Rarely is it necessary for them to complete what they were doing before they go. And so, I learned a lot about that. I realized, wow, I don't really have to finish anything, One of the things that he said that struck me was obedience, like obedience to a call to prayer, obedience to a bell that goes up, is not constraint. It's loving listening and the readiness to respond. And I realized I needed to put myself in a position of readiness to respond, kind of like a catcher, I'm not just like laying here waiting for something to fall in my lap from heaven. No, I'm like putting myself in an active position, ready to receive whatever God wants to give me. It's an active thing, reception. And so in that moment when a bell goes off, it's like an annunciation. We just celebrated that Feast of the Annunciation that just happened. And it's the Lord, through the angel Gabriel saying, "You're going to be the Son of God." And Mary said, "Okay," And for me, an annunciation is a call to prayer, like the angel saying, "I have something for you to do," to Mary. God saying, "I have something for you," when he calls you to prayer. And I may not live in a monastery, obviously. I don't hear any actual bells that toll to remind me to stop what I'm doing and pray. But I do have a cell phone, and I actually do have a little alert tone that sounds like church bells. So I can just set that, and I have prayer alarms. I started out with 18, but then I narrowed it down to something that was realistic, like 1. And so that goes off, and during the day at work anyway, when I need it the most, and that's how I respond. That's how I'm challenged to stop what I'm doing and just to be in the moment, And the fruits of it has been amazing. But obviously charity trumps all. If somebody's having a heart attack, they're not going to be like, "Oh, I can't help you right now, I gotta go pray." That's not how it works. You respond to the demands of the Lord first, and then when you get demands in front of you, then you can go. But we don't want to make excuses too often, in order to get out of what we've learned we're supposed to be doing. The other thing, this might sound really strange to you, but the other thing so learning about Liturgy of the Hours, learning about ordering your day just with consistency in your prayer life was huge for me. That helped me to rest more. That helped me to get rid of my anxiety in the future, to just be in the moment, to respond now, to things now, and not be so concerned with what's next, or the deadline to meet. But this other thing that helped me a lot was just being able to live in the moment and being able to make that prayer of surrender eventually that I made that summer was my discovery of Gregorian chant. And it was actually the first time I ever heard anybody chanting prayers together was amazing. I was in Portugal, in Fatima, backpacking with some friends on a pilgrimage, halfway through my sophomore year in college. And we stopped there and we stayed in a Benedictine monastery. Lots of continuity here, right? And we heard the brothers chanting their night prayers together, and the acoustics in the place were just incredible. I know they were speaking a language I didn't understand, but something just drew me there, and I just had to sit and just listen. And I just closed my eyes, and I felt like I was being just lifted right up to heaven. You know, it was so unlike anything I was used to hearing. It was so different, but so transcendent. It was so otherworldly. I was like, this is a reminder that I'm not meant to live in this world forever. You know, it was kind of nice to have that reminder that this is all going to pass away too, and I'm meant for something greater than this. You know, it was beautiful. So, my junior year in college, I stumbled across a book, because I had to do this book report for a class on Christian worship, and I just happened to stumble across a book on Gregorian chant, and that was something that changed my life, because it changed my whole perspective on the Mass and how to participate in it. But in it, chant was described as a participation in Kairos time, rather than Chronos time. It was really interesting. I have a very musical background. My family is very musical. My grandpa and all of his brothers used to have like 16-piece orchestras, used to direct in dance halls in LA, you know, and back when people used to dance for fun on weekends, and I guess that's not a thing anymore. Not clubs, like actual dancing. They actually knew how to dance. But they're, you know, so we know how to read music, and all of that was really big in my family. But we're used to metered time, like 4 beats per measure, and it keeps repeating. Like that's familiar to us, you know. When it's different than that, it's weird. But what I found was that it's not like that with Gregorian chant. You kind of just rest, and it's not the measure, it's not the beats, it's not the melody, but it's the words that move the music along, that make it move forward. And so it's interesting, now that I'm in a choir at my parish, it's been really great to have a director that's helping me to understand that, because she has us speak the words that we're going to sing before we even get there. Before we even sing anything, we always just speak it together, right? So the words of the Magnificat, for instance, when Mary says, "My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord," it would be totally wrong to say, "My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord." My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord. That's not how we talk, right? How do we talk when we're proclaiming the Word of God? My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord. Like, when we speak it together as the choir, it's amazing how everybody tends to speak it the same way. We have the same inflection on the same syllables. We tend to stress the same words that are more important than others, like the name of Jesus Christ. It's really awesome. And so that guides how we're supposed to sing it together, you know? So my soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord turns into, my soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord, you know? And it's not dead, it's not dull, it's just beautiful, and it's just moving, and you can dwell on the same note for however long you want, but it's the words that move it for you. It's really beautiful. So Brother David in his book says, chant evokes a different relationship to time than we're used to. And that was eye-opening for me. So we're outside of time when we celebrate the Mass. We're outside of time when we're realizing that we're made for not just Chronos, but Kairos. And we participate in God's time every time we're conscious of that. So these two things, developing a consistent prayer life, learning how to appreciate chant, which is a part of our tradition as Catholics, has taught me how to make what I want match what God wants for me. So how did this all play out after I made this prayer of surrender in the chapel in Franciscan University that one day? Well, it was pretty incredible, actually. Immediately after I made that prayer, things started to change. My whole approach, what was really at the center of that prayer was, God, I want to be married. I'm not married yet. I'm not dating anyone yet. Can we please get a move on? You know, that was at the heart of my heart's desire. Like, I bared my soul that day in that prayer. Like, I want this. Do you want this for me? Yes or no, just tell me what you want. And then I want to want that too. And give me the grace to want it, right? And so, incredibly enough, it turns out that God actually did want that for me. He was pointing me towards marriage like I thought, but I wasn't quite ready when I thought, but that moment I was. He made me ready. And then after that, you guys ever heard that song, It's Raining Men? raining, okay, like from everywhere. I met so many wonderful guys during that program. Some even convinced me to like go there full time. I was like, nah, I don't want to live here. But like they were just good guys. You know, I saw a lot of good qualities in them. I was like, that's the kind of guy I could date. You know, and then on the way home, I met somebody on the plane that I was sitting next to. I'm like, what is going on? This is so crazy. But what also changed in that moment was my approach to dating. You know, my whole approach to dating was like, you know, I'm looking for, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I haven't found it yet, and so I'm just gonna not give anybody at the time of day. I have my checklist, you know, this is the kind of guy that will get my attention. And instead, for some reason, my eyes were opened to the men that were already in my life. Friendships that I had already started to develop, acquaintances that I already had. And then I was given the ability to just see them for who they are. You know, like these are guys that the Lord loves, and they're in my life because we have something in common. And all of a sudden I was like, these are pretty good guys too, you know? And so this complaint that I had been, you know, tossing around in my head, there aren't any good guys in Phoenix, it was just completely false, because I was just closed off to the possibilities. And in that moment, all of a sudden I was open to them, you know? And so I made the decision after that day to just be open to getting to know the men in my life. No pressure, no agenda, no like, are they gonna be the one? No, don't think so much about the future, right? It's about living in the moment. It's about appreciating what's being presented to you. It's about being in the now, right? And so what's wrong with getting to know another person that has something in common with you? I'm like, why can't I put more stock into that? Why do I think so much farther ahead 3 steps? Why can't I just get to know somebody and be content to be their friend, and then see if anything develops organically from there? You know? It just seems like people spend way too much time dating and way too little time building friendships. You know? So that's what I decided was going to be my life from now on. And then comes that guy over there. We had already known each other. So we had already known each other. We met 4 years ago on a retreat in Williams. We were both in youth ministry at the time. And so we have a lot of friends in common, and we'd seen each other here and there, but we never really had a chance to get close. But all of a sudden, we realized that we had something in common. It was a stupid something. Okay, it was an awesome something, because I'm a huge fan. But anyone heard of the show Dr. Who? Okay, don't judge me if you don't like that kind of stuff. But we're big nerds, and we both loved the show, and a new season was coming on, and like he's like, you should watch it with us. And I was like, okay. And so we got to know each other just because I decided, you know, we both like this thing. We should just decide to like enjoy it together instead of enjoying it separately. You know, why not? And that's what allowed us the time that we needed to get to know each other, the time that I needed to see, you know, like his personality just reveal itself to me, and his qualities reveal themselves to me, and to see that, wow, this is a really good man. I'd be privileged to get to know him better, and then eventually we decided, you know what, I don't want to date anyone else. Let's just, you know, what do you think? And I was like, okay. Actually, it's a pretty funny story. I'll tell you later. But so obviously from there we started dating about a month after I got back from summer school, and everything has been pretty awesome since then. You know, there's up and downs obviously, but that's not important right now. What I came to realize is that Louis is the kind of man that loves like the Father loves. God the Father is you know, unconditional in his love for you. And Louis is kind of like a puppy dog. Like, it doesn't matter how I treat him, he's still wagging his tail when I come home. And I think that's the thing I love most about him, because I know that as crappy as I can be some days, like, he's still gonna love me. You know, and so that's what I came to discover through our friendship, that's the kind of man he is, and that's when I knew that he was somebody that I wanted to marry. And obviously that happened. You saw that there, right? So these 2 things that I discovered have become such a part of my prayer life, such a part of my life in general, that they've helped me to really just be open to these things. They help me to make these prayers that I need to make. They help me to surrender to what's going on right now, not be who I am naturally, tendency-wise, which is always in the future or always in the past, but they really just changed my life. So today, I just encourage you to consider, if there's some way that you can add a little bit more consistency to your prayer life, if there's something that you can add to what you already do, and you've been kind of feeling an urge to do that, start figuring out what it could be, If you've never considered chant as incorporating that into your prayer life, this would be something. That's a way to slow down for me. It really is. Just listening to something on Spotify. I'll share with you my Spotify playlist for, chant. I got some of that going on too. But it's just really just helps me to have that different relationship with time that Brother David talked about. So I want to give you guys a chance to just think about these things for a little bit. Just a couple of questions worth asking. Like I said, if you have a small group already, go ahead and find those people. If you don't have a small group already, find some girls that are right next to you and just kind of move your chairs and just discuss for a little bit. Like, what could I add to my prayer life? And is this idea of building relationships, building friendships with men, is this something that's totally different to my current approach to dating? And would I be open to just kind of like slowing down and considering that? Or is that exactly what I'm doing, and share that with other people? How do you approach dating? So Father Dan has a couple, I don't know, somebody else does. Okay, so take a look at those, and we'll give you a few minutes just to discuss with yourselves.